Welcome to the next chapter in our Introduction to ArcGIS Pro video series. These next few lessons will be all about symbology. Technically speaking, symbology is the use of symbols to represent the features and attributes of a map layer. For example, black dots may symbolize electrical substations, or blue polygons may symbolize a residential building footprint. In this lesson, we will be discussing point symbology. We will start by looking at the different types of single symbols, including how to change the size, color, and outlines of symbols. Then we will spend some time looking at setting symbology by unique values. Unique values allows you to symbolize your feature based on a specific attribute. For example, we can symbolize a data set of gas wells by status. In that case, each status would have its own unique symbol. Lastly, we will take a look at the gallery and properties, specifically for point feature classes. Let's get started. Okay, back to our Pro project. In this example, we are going to be using a subset of gas wells located in western Colorado. When I loaded this layer into Pro, it automatically generated a brown point for the symbology. There are two ways that I can edit this symbology. First, I can hover over this point symbol and then right-click on the symbol. By doing this, I can change only the color of my point symbol. Right-clicking changes the color, but I will not be able to change the size or outline of my point. Let's change it from the brown to a dark blue. This will then change the color of all of my points to blue. Now, let's say I want to change the size and outline of my point. To do that, we will need to left-click on the point symbol. When I left-click on the symbol, it will open up a Symbology pane on the right-hand side. Go ahead and do that if you haven't already. In my Symbology pane, I can see Gallery here, and also Properties. Within the gallery are hundreds of preset symbols that come along with Pro. As I scroll through these symbols, you can see multiple versions of triangles, squares, dots, and more. As I go farther, you can see symbols for things like coffee shops, hotels, and hospitals. There are literally hundreds of different options that you can choose from. Let's next click on Properties. This is how you are going to change items like size and outline of your point symbol. You can see here my current symbol is dark blue with a black outline. The outline width is 0.7 and the size of my dot is 4. For the sake of an example, let's change the outline color to light green, the outline width to 1, and the dot size to 6. Always make sure to hit Apply at the bottom of this Symbology pane. As you can see, this quickly changes the point symbol for all of the gas wells. Okay, that was a quick intro to single point symbology. In the next slide, we will get into a lot more detail on how to set symbology on multiple values. Next, let's spend some time looking at how to set symbology on multiple values. Unique value symbology allows you to symbolize categories or values based on specific attribute fields in your data set. Unique value symbology is important when you want to see where a feature is located and the type of feature. For example, you have a data set of trees located in your city. Unique value symbology allows you to see where each of the trees is located and see the species of each tree. Okay, to get started, let's look again at our gas wells layer. The easiest way to change this symbology from single symbol to unique values is to first click on the layer, and then come up to the feature layer ribbon, and click on the down arrow below the symbology icon. You will then see a list of the different types of symbology. The first one, single symbol, is what we discussed in the first slide. The next one, unique values, allows you to symbolize based on a specific category, such as tree species or building type. These next 6 options allow you to symbolize your layer based on a quantity. For example, you may have height as an attribute in your layer of all tree locations. By using graduated colors, I could symbolize tree height by color. For example, green is anything under 5 feet. Yellow is any tree between 5 and 10 feet. And red is all trees over 10 feet. Using the same example, graduated symbols might be a better choice for tree height. With graduated symbols, I could symbolize my tree height by dot size. Small trees would be a small dot and large trees would be a large dot. Let's first click on unique values and take a look at that. Our symbology pane will once again open up on the right side of our map. This time, you will see unique values is the primary symbology instead of single symbol. First, we need to choose the field that we want to symbolize on. For this layer, I want to symbolize my points based on status. I'm going to click on the down arrow next to field 1 and choose the facility status attribute. This will automatically add all of my status values. You can see it assigned a different color dot symbol to each status. I want to change this pastel color to something a little darker. To do that, click on the color ramp next to color scheme. Let's choose something with a darker color scheme. This will change all of my points to a darker color. Here in the Classes tab, you can see a table of all the statuses. This will show the value and the label. In this table, you can edit the label for your classes. I am going to edit a couple of these labels to show as an example. I will change PR to producing and DG to drilling. The important thing to know about changing the labels here is they also show up in your table on the left. And this is what will be present in your legend when you create PDF maps. It is also possible to reorder your symbol values. To do this, click on a row and then move it up or down. You may want to do this if you need to order values next to each other and do not want them in alphabetical order. Next, let's take a look at grouping values together. Right now, we have 9 different status values in our list. Maybe this is a few too many statuses than you would like to see. In that case, it may be helpful to group a few values together. To do this, highlight 2 or more values. Right-click and click Group Values. This will group all of those values into a single symbol. You will also notice it groups all of the labels together too. To fix that, simply edit the label like we did previously. For this one, I will change the label of these 3 symbols to say Abandoned Location. Now that we have grouped our items and changed a few labels, let's look at changing symbology for specific points. Just like we saw with the single symbols with unique values, we can also either left or right click to change symbology. Again, when right-clicking our mouse on a symbol, we can only change the fill color of that point. You see here, when I right-click on this symbol, I can quickly change only the fill color of that point. Same goes with right-clicking on a point in the table of contents. To change anything other than the fill color, we need to left-click on a point. Let's do that for our Abandoned Locations point group. You can see when I do that, it brings me straight to the point gallery. Here I can choose a preset symbol such as square or triangle. These are the same symbols we looked at with the single symbol. Instead of choosing one of these, I'm going to click on Properties. For my abandoned locations, I am going to change the fill color to red, the outline color to dark blue, the outline width to 1 point, and the size to 6 point. Always remember to hit Apply at the bottom when editing Symbology. Now you can see over here in the contents that my abandoned location points are a 6-point red dot, rather than smaller dots like the rest of the points. Now is a good time to go through and edit each of the points to your desired symbology. Next, we are going to take a quick look at setting symbology based on quantity. I am going to make sure my layer is highlighted, then come up to Feature Layer and click on the down arrow next to Symbology. Then click on Graduated Colors. This is going to again open up my Symbology pane on the right side. This time, instead of symbolizing based on an attribute, we are going to symbolize our points based on a quantity. Quantity symbology is a great way to visualize amounts rather than specific attributes. For example, we could symbolize our points based on size, production, or even year. For this example, I'm going to change the field to max MD. The MD stands for measured depth, so we are going to symbolize our points based on the depth of each gas well. By default, we are going to have 5 classes for our points. You can change that to really whatever class size you would like, but 5 seems to work pretty well most of the time. Like we showed earlier, you can also edit the color scheme. I like this yellow to dark red for our depth values, so let's stick with that for now. Down below, you can see that the values were assigned based on each bucket size. So if we had 500 features total, there would be 100 features in each bucket. They are assigned to make each bucket similar in size. I can change those breaks if I click on the histogram button. You can see here when I drag my cursor up or down, it will change my breaks. This will make my bucket sizes smaller or larger, depending on where I place the break. It also labels the points nicely. And I can also add to that label if I need to. For example, maybe I want to add the word feet to each of my labels. I can do that here. We will take a look at other quantity symbology in the lines and polygons sections. For now, I hope that was a good introduction to symbology.